It's another one in the series of Michelin chefs at the Bahrain Capital Club. This time, a one-star kitchen genius, Adam Byatt. Adam is a one-time British television celebrity chef too, although now rather concentrates more on his 3 very successful London restaurants, which we shall hear about. Guest of honour, His Excellency British Ambassador Simon Martin, introduced Chef Byatt, welcoming him and expressing the strong British-Bahrain connections. As per all celebrity chefs which visit the club, there's another side to just dishing up the exceptional dishes, as Ambassador Martin highlighted.
As an additional factor, it's the work that you're going to be doing here with young Bahraini chefs, which just shows how we can benefit from each other. And we certainly look forward to benefiting from the skills of your young Bahraini colleagues and friends after they've been working with you this week.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the introduction.
It is a Capital Club programme, giving back to the community. In fact, as Capital Club General Manager Sumit Jahingan emphasises, that bringing such high standards to Bahrain gives local student chefs a unique opportunity to experience the extraordinary levels they need to aspire to in order to be even considered for Michelin chef stardom. Adam is British, and it wouldn't be the first time that the British have been accused of having little gastronomic finesse. Well, Adam's creations are very British, with a twist.
We use British produce where we can. I'm obviously British, so there's some sort of influence from my childhood and influence from my growing up and influence from the culture of Great Britain. But the fundamental roots of the cookery and the approach and the combinations of what we do, it's absolutely French gastronomy. We are, and I'm very good at French gastronomy. I'm very well classically trained, and I like doing that food and sticking to it. And ultimately, French gastronomic food was designed to deliver pleasure. And that food is the food that I love.
It was exceptional fare, bursting with flavours, and using an assortment of, well, none too fancy ingredients if you looked at it. Ingredients that in your own kitchen you'd never think would produce such flavours. How does he do that?
You try, you test, you try, you test, you try, you test. You eat a lot, and you develop and grow and progress a dish. You don't just make a dish, put it on the plate and say, okay, that's fine, let's go with that. There's a continual process of evolution and progression with the food, and I think that's what takes a restaurant from being a good restaurant to a really great one.
Talking of restaurants, Adam is originally from Essex, but South London Clapham is the lucky location now.
I have a restaurant called Bistro Union, which is a very simple family neighbourhood restaurant in South London. It's where we do beautiful home-cooked food, lots of brunches, lots of family meals. Have another restaurant which is a Michelin-star restaurant called Trinity. It's also in South London. And above Trinity, we have a restaurant called Upstairs. Upstairs is a more casual, simple, relaxed, music, atmospheric type restaurant. Trinity has been my restaurant now for 11 years, so it's been past our decade last year. Did a huge refurb, and then we introduced the more casual restaurant above, just to allow people to sort of access the restaurant more easily. So yes, and above and beyond that, we have gone on to achieve awards, significant awards, including Michelin. But ultimately, it is a business, and we try to make sure that that business is first and foremost secure and safe for everybody who works for us and everybody who dines with us. Are we on the way up? We are absolutely now in a position we've never been before, which is beaming with confidence, in a great financial position, in a great position with the general public and great position with the industry supporting us. And I feel like we can go on to do some really interesting things as a company here. Yeah.
Clapham. Oh, how the area has changed since the 60s and 70s.
You know, when I started cooking, when I was 16 years old working in the West End, you could then you could go and work in probably a handful, 10 or so one-star restaurants in central London. That was the pick of the circuit that everybody worked in. Now, must be 50 one-star restaurants in the UK, more, in London, sorry. And so there's a huge pick, and that spread is huge now. There is cooking at that level to be had at such a vast area in London. It has got to be the most cosmopolitan but up-to-date cooking food centre of the world now. I mean, it's just incredible. Yeah.
Outside of hotels, Bahrain could do with a freestanding Michelin establishment, offering more reasonable rates. Could Adam be persuaded?
I didn't come here for the air flight. You know, I travel a lot as a chef. Inspiration for me comes through travel, through exposure to new cultures and new people and new trends and seeing what's out there. And so anything like this is a huge opportunity for me to learn and to grow, and I value that enormously. Now I think the future is to look outside of the UK and look at other opportunities outside the UK, and because there are so many countries that are in need of that rich culture that we can bring, and I think there are some great opportunities to be had. So I have never been to Bahrain before, but it's a very interesting country, and the whole Gulf area is not something I know much about, but I do know there's a huge connection and a huge future between the UK and the Gulf in terms of commercial coming together. I really think that's going to happen, yeah.
Now a one-star Michelin chef, but from the outset, Adam was always among the high flyers.
Yeah, I did. I was very lucky in that I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't know necessarily why, but I certainly knew I wanted to cook for a living at a very early age, and I just sort of pursued the right channels for that. I found schooling very difficult. I didn't connect with the academia there. It was a very difficult time for me. I found this apprenticeship, worked at Claridge's Hotel, very lucky to get a scholarship with the Royal Academy of Culinary Arts, who then took me under their wing, sent me on this college course. Changed my life. Absolutely life-changing moment. Being mentored like that, someone taking an interest in you, someone investing in you, it was a life changer for me. And I never really, and I did the right thing. Thankfully, I seized that with both hands and I ran with it. I often get asked if there's something else I would be, but I've been doing this since I was 16. I've devoted my life to being the best I can possibly be at being a chef. I never really think, I have never had the thought, if I was to change career, that's what I would do. Other than perhaps I can be a professional fisherman or a professional racing driver, or, I love cars, I love fishing, I love shooting. But none of those things, actually, once you do them for a profession, A, I'm not good enough at any of them, and B, you would become complacent with the thing that you really enjoy as an escape from the thing you have to do.
If one watches television these days, it seems that everybody wants to be a chef.
I didn't particularly want to be known as a TV chef. I'm a restaurateur. I'm a chef who is a chef patron of 3 restaurants, and that's my main focus. And so I sort of dabble in television, but I don't make it my main concern. Being a chef now is such a popular sort of subject for people to look into. The problem is actually being a proper chef with all the bits that go with it, and to a point where you have a lot of big team working for you and a restaurant with perhaps a Michelin star. This takes a lot of time to develop and to grow to. It's not something that happens overnight. It's incredibly popular on social media. The food is colourful and vibrant and very instant. You can read something very instantly with food. Chefs are notoriously interesting people because some of them are, because they're sort of more flamboyant perhaps. And I think that the whole subject is very popular. It's a populist subject right now. But actually, underneath that, we shouldn't forget that there is an awful lot of craft and training and graft that goes into becoming a chef like that. A business like mine, I'm a chef first and foremost that has to look after 60 or so employees. And those things take time. The business side of it is something you learn. However, I am backed up by a business partner that has incredible business acumen. And I think I wouldn't want to be in this on my own, making all those decisions and just not sounding that against someone who's got a very black and white view on things. It's either a good business decision for our business or it's not. I think there's a caution to be had, and being a good cook does not necessarily mean you are a great businessman.
The Capital Club programme is not a charity. It's just giving back. But Adam also gets a buzz out of working in different environments.
It's been great to work with other chefs and other kitchens, and the head chef from here. It's always good to do that and see the standard that other people work at. But you know what, actually for me, I think as you get older, if you're a chef with a notable amount of success in the industry, you absolutely have a duty of care to give back and to pass on to the next generation, to leave some kind of legacy. It's absolutely critical. And spending some time with all the students here today, you can see in their faces that that's a little bit of exposure to something they would never have got otherwise. You're going to leave an impression with them. It might be tiny for one, it might be huge for another, but it's those things that they're really important to me. I think that is really important to give back to the industry. I do a fair amount of charitable work. We're certainly at our capacity in how much we can sort of give. Now we have to sort of sit at the beginning of every year and decide how much we're going to put into charity for the following year. But that isn't a case of just taking, you know, a certain a figure and putting it on the table. It's my time, it's my team's time, it's free gift vouchers for the restaurant that people can auction to raise more money. It's the money we send directly. It's that whole subject is huge and vast, and there are charities that are really close to my heart from a personal level. There are charities that I work with on an industry level, which I care an awful lot about. But listen, I think everybody, if you have a restaurant of notoriety, then you have a responsibility to give back in some way, and I think everybody does in the industry, to be fair. So we do our bit. Yeah, I'm a member of the Academy of Culinary Arts, and part of being a member of that means you are participating in the Academy Adopter School, going into school and teaching children. This is charitable work, but it's really important, giving back to the young kids in schools, teaching them the very, very, very grassroots basics about food. Just amazing. I do, then on another scale to that, I do something called Luca Dinner. So lots of amazing chefs cook a dinner together and then auction themselves to be sold to cook a dinner party. And they raise an incredible amount of money for leukemia, which is also, these things are different ends of the spectrum. I get asked to do an awful lot, and I do exactly what I can do, as much as I can do.
This is Geg Hopkins with Svetlana Prodanova for WhoDoesWhat.tv and the Gulf Daily News Online at the Capital Club Bahrain with celebrity chef Adam Byatt.